Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are back in War Thunder, and I'm bringing you a replay from a battle that I played with one of my squad mates, King Rex 1002. It is on the battles at the bend of the Volga, which was the event today that we played in to get the challenges done. And just for a quick shout out, I want to shout out Ibuprofen 1478. Had a nice little chat with him in the battle, so if you're watching, mate, hope you're doing alright. Anyway, back to the battle. So what do we have? We are playing as the Russians in the ground forces, basically mainly using the T-34 1942. You are also able to use the KV-1 and the KV-1S, but you do need spawn points to get them, because basically otherwise the event would be incredibly unbalanced. On the other side, the two choices that it seemed the most people were going for was the Stug with the 75 long-barreled and the Panzer IV F2, which also sports the long-barreled 75. So basically you have T-34s for 1942 variants versus Panzer IV F2s. A pretty decent battle actually, maybe slightly in favor of the Russians just because we're on Kursk, so there aren't many areas where you can use that wonderful gun depression of the Panzer IVs without exposing yourself to the wonderful 76 that these Russians sport. But the reason I've picked out this replay to show is, first of all, Rex does incredibly well, and also there are some moments where you can watch me get flattened by aircraft. We are playing the realistic variant of this challenge, so there was aircraft milling about, and it seems like people really enjoyed using the BF-109 F4s, which carry either a 250 kilo bomb or two 15mm gun pods, or 50 kilo bombs if you feel like it. Most people sported the 250 kilo bomb because you were also facing Yak 7Bs and Yak 1s in the air. The only way you're going to be able to not exactly outturn them, but basically be able to fight with them was to ditch the gun pods and take the bomb. So you could bomb a tank, and then you could try and at least turn fight the Yaks, because you're not going to get out of there. They're going to have energy advantage on you once you dive. So we've made it to the middle point, the church in the center of the town, a nice addition that they added to Kursk a while back, and because we're in T-34s, we're going to get here first, because we are faster than Stugs and Panzer IVs. They also have to get up a hill, so did we, and therefore there is no real advantage to either side. So we get to the church first, and now looking for targets, Rex goes around the corner, plays it slightly aggressively, and as you can see over there, the first target pops up, completely oblivious, shoots straight through that driver's port, knocks out everybody with a wonderful splash of the 76 APHE. Another thing to note is that Rex is quite an aggressive player, which can be very beneficial if you have the skill to go along with it. A lot of people that I play with on Ampho do have this skill, or a lot of people who I play in-game do have this skill to complement their aggressiveness, which, as I said, can work wonders. There is me, of course, getting blown up in the background. Thank you, JU-87s. Thank you, BF-109s. Something else to mention is the fact that you obviously can see names of players in the replay. When it comes to the Germans, we are playing on realistic battles, so there's no name tags or anything like that. So just something to keep in mind. I wish I could turn it off. It would be nice if there were more replay options. But as you can see, he's on the right side of the town because the enemy has taken A, but there is a ridge which you have to go up to before the Germans can see you from A, which he's moving forward to. After checking the left side, because on the left side that's basically where all the Germans spawn in the area, using the house, as you can see, to sit himself between their spawns, and also that key hill which sits just east of his position, which a lot of Panzer IVs and Stugs sit on because they get a really nice place to shoot from. So using the houses, even though you can shoot through a lot of these houses, just using them as cover Now, another nice little tidbit to talk about is also the fact that he is using the house not just to cover his tank, but also to cover the muzzle flash of his gun. Now, I'm not sure if he was doing this on purpose or if, you know, he knows exactly all that stuff. But basically, if you look from a side view from this position, the smoke flash is actually very hard to see because the house is in the way from the left side. And that's where people are going to be shooting through when they're trying to hit him from the spawn. So he takes out the people who are trying to get to A on the right side of him. Now on the left, he starts sporting shots. As you can see, he's hitting the majority of his shots, knowing how far the enemies are away, and, well, it's just kind of like shooting chickens in a coop or fish in a barrel. He's just absolutely massacring them, and it seems like they don't know he's there. Now, this is what I mean by the aggressive attitude towards the game. It can help out a hell of a lot. You can actually get the spot on the enemy before they know when to react. What happens is you put yourself in an overly aggressive position, and maybe you catch the enemy napping before they get into their firing spots, trying to get to a position where they can shoot you in your normal positions, where Rex, being overly aggressive, can counter that. Now, as you just saw there, that's my sorry ass getting chased by 4 BF-109s. The Germans had pretty much air superiority this complete time we were playing this event today. Apart from when there was a few battles where the Germans actually decided they needed to win some battles, so they actually went in tanks. But as you can see, it's just picking fish in a barrel. Shooting straight through the Panzer IVs. The penetration on this 76 goes up to about 90 with the standard APC-BC shell, and that's more than enough to get through that 50mm on the flat part of the Panzer IV F2. So he's just picking them up as he goes. The F2 with the long-barreled 75 can also do damage to him, but there are instances where you can easily bounce off the front of a T-34's turret, the upper glacis, anywhere really. Sometimes the shot just completely disappears. Weird alien technology. But moving on, he's just taking pot shots at some people way in the distance, so he focuses on a target which instead goes straight in front of him, which is a much more high priority target just because it's closer to him, and also because since it is closer to him, maybe it's able to spot him, maybe it's able to get shots on. Something that good players do, which is a nice little tidbit which, you know, if you're inexperienced or if you're new to the game, maybe you can look at, is the fact that you look for muzzle flashes, you look for smoke, you look for little things like that to see where the enemy are. Now, you don't just look at enemy shots and enemy smoke, you look for your teams to see where they are shooting. Generally, most, or if not all shells in this game, when it comes to guns, have a nice little tracer on them so you can follow them. And since he was able to basically sit behind this, with the German team on the left completely oblivious, obviously not looking at the smoke and stuff like that, he's able to take some pot shots at the enemies on the left before focusing on the enemies straight forward. Now, I believe the Panzer IV F2s do have a nice advantage at range, whereas the T-34, it doesn't get that APCR shell, which the Panzer IV F2 does. So if they do need to fire long distances, they have to use APCR, but it's got a good muzzle velocity, so it's not that hard to use. Something that is unconventional, I would say, about Rex is that he takes full ammo on all of the vehicles he drives. Now, me personally, I don't think that's a good idea, just because it means that it adds to the ammo rack issue, and the fact that you will probably get one shot a little bit more. But if you are confident enough that you use a lot of ammunition, and also from the fact that if you're going to go through a lot of ammunition and you're going to survive a lot longer, then it's definitely something to think about. It is a trade-off, definitely. There has been a lot of battles where I have run out of ammunition and Rex has just kept trucking along, killing everything in his path. So that was 8 kills in those two positions, basically shielding himself, from the main spawns that the Germans were coming from, while shooting everyone on the right that he could see, and if there was nobody on the right, peeking around the house, shooting anyone who was coming close, shielding his muzzle flashes, shielding everything that he could, and using to his advantage the fact that he has this wonderful 76 that can pen basically anything that he faces. Now yes, there is some luck involved, he didn't get bombed, but apart from that, everything else was pure skill on his end. The positioning was perfect, the shooting, you know, he needed to range a little bit, but everybody has to do that. And apart from that, the shooting was incredibly precise. The areas where he shot the Panzer tanks were beautiful, through the driver's port on that Stug, through the flat plate of most Panzer IVs, or through the flat plate on the turret, never really struggling to hit a very hard, direct, critical hit. And from there, he was able to pick up 8 kills, get his event challenge done, which is 6 kills or more in RB, and truck on to complete the challenges with me. Me in this battle, I didn't really do a lot, I just got shot up and that was really about it. But anyway, if you have any replays, and you want to send them to me, if you want them to be featured, I'll leave a link to a email below that you can send them to, so I can have a look. Please leave a little description with them if you want me to have a look at them, maybe some timestamps or something, just so I don't have to go through the whole thing and work out what's going on. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and happy hunting in the World War II Chronicles event. I'm sure a lot of you are doing it, and if you're not, well, look forward to the vehicles that I'll be showing in the next few weeks. I'll catch you next time.